I could break down attachment styles in theory like other creators. I knew how people pleasing showed up in my relationships, but none of that helped me say no when it actually mattered. I stayed, smiled, and over explained. So, why do smart women, the ones who know better, still struggle to walk away from things that hurt them? If you're the kind of person who's done the work, read the books, went to therapy, journal about your childhood, but still end up overgiving, over explaining, apologizing, and feeling invisible, you're not alone and you're not broken. You're just facing a problem that self awareness alone can't solve. Because healing is not just mental, it's relational, it's embodied, and most importantly, it's felt. Let's talk about intellectualizing. It's when we use our brain to avoid our feelings. Think about it like this. You know, when a relationship is not working, you can list down all the red flags. You've read all the books on attachment styles, but you still can't leave. For example, you might sit with your friend and perfectly analyze why your partner's behavior is hurting you. Like he's emotionally unavailable because of his childhood trauma. But then you go back home and continue accepting the same treatment. That's intellectualizing. You understand everything in theory, but you're disconnected from the actual feelings that should guide your actions. Research from Dr. Janina Fisher shows that our brain creates stories and frameworks to protect us from pain. But real healing can only happen when you feel the emotions in your body instead of just thinking about them. Another key issue is self-objectification. About the time I broke. I was in a conversation with someone I loved, and they asked me for something I didn't want to give emotionally and mentally. And for the first time, I paused. I didn't say no, I didn't say yes, but I paused. And in that silence, I felt everything: guilt, fear, conditioning, this deep panic that they'd leave me. But that moment taught me something a book never could. Healing isn't about always knowing what to do. It's about making space for discomfort without betraying yourself. Here's the final and the most important piece. Your nervous system doesn't respond to logic. It responds to safety. If saying no feels unsafe to your body, it will override your intellect. That's why things like polyvagal theory and somatic therapy matter, because you're not necessarily unhealed, you might be dysregulated. And self-worth only grows when you act from safety, not survival. So here's what I want you to try this week. Before you say yes to something, pause and think if this is kindness or you're doing something out of fear. Then choose the smallest no you can live with, even if it's awkward, even if it trembles. Because confidence is not built by being fearless. It's built by feeling scared and choosing self-respect anyway. Let me know in the comments below what's something or someone you know is bad for you but you struggle to leave. And if this hit home, share it with the smartest girl you know. She might need a reminder that she's allowed to be powerful, not just pleasing. I'll see you next time. Bye.